In this video, we are going to talk about the retrogression of planet. So keep watching. Namaste and welcome to Pramanik Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahajani. Help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic Astrology. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. You will be getting Vedic astrological videos just like this one. And if you want to know your planetary alignments, you can go to my website and get your detailed analysis horoscope report. Okay, so yes, let's talk about the retrogression of planet. What is the retrogression of planet? Let's understand the retrogression of planet with this example, with this figure. Let's get started. So this is our sun. This is the orbit of the Mercury. This is the orbit of the Venus, and this is the orbit of the Earth. Okay, so here is Earth. Okay, and here are the fixed star constellation in the sky. Okay, this is not an orbit. This is the fixed star constellation. Why they are called fixed? Because they don't move. Planets move. These fixed star constellation does not move. These are the nakshatras. Okay, so there are constellations. We will name it as fixed star constellations. So we will call them FS1, FS2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it will go on till 27. Okay, so these are nakshatra is a different part. Let's not get into that. The point is to understand the retrogression of the planet. Retrogression of the planet is because of the difference between the movement of two planets. Let's talk about the Mercury. So Mercury is also revolving around Sun. It takes 87 days, 87 point something days to complete an orbit around Sun. So by the time Earth is completing 365 days, Mercury has completed more than 3 rounds, more than 3 orbits around Sun during in the span of 365 days. Why? Because it takes 87 days to complete one orbit. Let's understand what is retrogression in this figure, in this diagram. Okay, so this is Earth, this is Venus. When we see Venus from Earth, we see Venus in context with some fixed star here. This is Earth, this is Venus, and when we are looking at Venus from the Earth, we are looking at Venus at the backdrop of this fixed star. It may be anything that is fixed, right? So we are watching Venus from Earth at the backdrop of this fixed star. Okay, point number 1. Now this Venus is moving. Okay, so we will see this Venus at the backdrop of this fixed star. Okay, this will keep on changing. The fixed star is fixed, they won't change. Okay, now the Venus has revolved and has come closer to the Earth. Now it will see Venus at the backdrop of this fixed star. Okay, and now Venus is again coming very close to Earth. And now what happens is, now you can see that Venus at the backdrop of fixed star 2. Ideally it should, as it is moving forward, it should be seen at the backdrop of 4, but due to its closeness to the Earth and the difference of the movement, it appears to be at this point. We see that at the backdrop of point number 2, fixed star number 2, and this is retrogression. This is what happens in the sky at the retrogression. Okay, and this can apply to all the planets. Mercury get retrograde, Venus gets retrograde, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars, all the 5 planets get retrograde in the same fashion. We talked about Venus. Similarly, you can draw for Mercury. Similarly, you can draw for the Mars. Okay. In this diagram, we discussed how exactly the retrogression of planet is happening in the sky. Okay. When the planet is close to the Earth, it appears to be at the backdrop of some fixed star which is prior to the one. Okay, it appears to be at the backdrop of the fixed star prior to the one which it was traveling. So we say it is Vakri, we say it is moving backward, we say it is retrograde. Okay, but in reality, physically, the planet does not move backward. Please understand this. Okay, now let's discuss about the effect of the Vakri planets. What are the effect of Vakri planets? Okay, there is a conception about the retrograde planet that they give the result of the house previous to the one they are placed in. Okay, which I have not observed in my studies, because if you observe the Saturn, Jupiter or Mars which have the special aspects, like Jupiter have 5, 7, 9 aspect, Mars have 4th, 7th and 8th aspect. If they start giving the result of the house previous to the one they are sitting in, they will occupy and influence more than 7 to 8 houses of the horoscope out of 12. Okay, so I don't believe in this theory. There are few scholars who are getting result with this. So it is all about the experience and the application and what results you are getting from the application of it. Very little is known about retrograde planets in the classical text. So it's all about the experience. Okay, if you have the experience that yes, it works, you can go ahead with that. But I have not observed this in my studies. What exactly happens and what are the effect of the retrograde planets? One thing is for sure, retrograde planets are highly karmic. Why? Because they increase the magnitude of the planet. Something special is happening at that point. That's what makes it the highly karmic. Okay, and when I say karmic, the area of the karma depend upon the lordship and the placement of the Vakri planet in your horoscope. What do I mean by that? Suppose you have a planet placed in the 9th house or a 10th house in your horoscope, which is Vakri. Let's say you have Saturn, which is Vakri in your horoscope in the 10th house. What will happen? The 10th house will have maximum effect of the retrogression. Wherever the Vakri planet is placed, the house wherein the Vakri planet is placed is influenced and affected mostly by the retrograde planets. The house where the Vakri planet is placed is influenced most. Okay, in this example we have retrograde planet in the 10th house. So the 10th house is the most influenced house by the retrograde Saturn. But the houses ruled by Saturn will get great effects. Let's take this as an Saturn in Libra in the 10th house. So the ascendant and the Dhana house 10 and 11 will get great results with the Saturn in Libra in 10th house retrograde. Another thing is when the planet is if planet is involved into some yoga, it will amplify that yoga. If a planet is in conjunct with the other planet, you have to look for the degrees of the planet. Degrees become critical, and the lord of the Vakri planet In our case, we have taken the 10th house Saturn in Libra. So Venus, the placement of Venus becomes crucial. If Venus is afflicted, then the career of this person might get affected. Why? Because we have a Vakri planet in the 10th house. We have the retrograde planet in the 10th house. This was my analysis about the retrograde, what is retrogression, and the retrograde planets in your horoscope. Let's summarize the retrogression. What is retrogression? Retrogression is the backward movement, apparent backward movement of the planets in the sky. But in reality, the planets don't move backward physically. They move into the same direction as the ecliptic path as they are moving. They don't move physically backward. Point number one, very important. Next point is we always see the planet at the backdrop of the fixed stars. We took an example of the Venus, the inner planet. What is inner planet? The planets between Sun and Earth, that is Venus and Mercury, okay, are the inner planets. Okay, so we always see the planets at the backdrop of the fixed stars. Now Venus is revolving around the Sun. Okay, now it comes here, and now we see the Venus at the backdrop of fixed star number 3. Okay, now Venus is coming close, very close to Earth. And now what happens is, now we are looking at Venus and it appears to be at the backdrop. It appears to be it appears that the backdrop is not the 4th star, which is the forward, which is the next star after the 3rd, but it is showing us the fixed star 3, fixed star 2, the fixed star previous to the 3. Okay, that's why we call it as a retrograde or Vakri. One thing here is sure, retrograde planets are very karmic. They increase the intensity of the planet for good or bad. The placement of the Vakri Graha in your horoscope, the house wherein it is placed, is the most influenced house. The house ruled by the Vakri planet gets the best result of the Vakri Graha. Okay, so don't get scared when you have a Vakri Graha. If you have the Vakri Graha in any house, the houses ruled by the Vakri planets in your horoscope gets lightened up and gets the power. Okay, because this is something special. Alright, this is not the usual path. One thing is for sure, this is something unusual and very intense because it is very close to Earth. It is happening very close to Earth. This was my analysis about the retrograde planets, as much as I could hold, grasp and share with you guys. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Share this video with your family and friends. Subscribe if you aren't already. And sending you high vibrations. See you in the next videos. Love and peace. I'm moving backwards. Ooh. Peace.